Hi, I'm teleprompter Tom. Welcome to Benny versus the Penny. Here's your host, Ben Maller.
Hey, Tom Looney, it's good to know that despite not being on television anymore, just on the YouTube, which we love, we have a global platform here, we still had a budget for the teleprompter.
I have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have attention span issues.
Yeah, I understand. No prompter on this end. There's no prompter over here, Tom, but it is back week number 3. This is the full show of Benny versus the Penny. We gave you the appetizer for that Dolphin-Bills game, and now we get in to the minutia. But before we get in, now the way this works, if you're new to the show, been on radio and podcasting and TV and now this. So we've been doing this a long time with Looney for a couple of years. So we flip the penny up in the air, and if it lands on heads, you know what that means, Tom? If it lands on heads?
If it lands on heads, that's the home team. Lands on tails, that's the visitors.
Look at that. It wasn't even on your prompter, and you figured that out.
Right,
I'm very proud of you, Tom. I'm very proud of you. We can
so
save that money and hire an intern on Benny versus we can just get an intern here, which I think are free anyway. But yeah, that's the way it works. And then I spend my time when I'm not doing the overnight show actually handicapping the games. It's been a hobby of mine, a life's work, which for many years I did very well at. Recently, not so much. But let's see. Week 1 was a good week to start the NFL season, Tom. So before we get into the minutia of the show, why don't we look back at last week?
Yeah, congratulations on your NFL Week 2 loss to a brainless Penny, Ben.
I appreciate that.
6 wins, 10 losses, an inanimate object, 8-8. As for season totals, Benny 16 wins, 16 losses. Penny has 14 wins, 18 losses.
I like that you've left that scrolling at the bottom of the screen just to have it scroll by me like a dagger. Every time it goes across the screen, there's a dagger right there. I
can do you a favor.
Yes,
we can turn that off, and I can put up. There we go.
Oh,
put up a graphic that says "Penny for your thoughts." Penny for your thoughts, Ben.
All right. My first thought, Tom, is what happened to the real upsets in the NFL. One of the things that I've been very consistent about, and it's worked for me for the better part of almost 20 years now doing this, is the upsets, the upstart teams in the NFL. And things continue to be bizarre. Well, that's my first thought, Tom. The NFL favorites of 4 points or more so far this NFL season are 12-0 straight up. Now, not against the spread. Against the spread, they're 4-8. But still, we haven't had an outright upset so far this season where a relatively big underdog won. If you go back to the early 1950s, favorites of 4 points or more had never been undefeated straight up through the first 2 weeks of the regular season. And here we are. So that's a change. Another thought I have, Tom, is the obvious statement from former Raiders coach Antonio Pierce. There's been this great debate about what's going on with Tom Brady. I've spent a lot of time on the radio talking about it. And Tom's been hanging out in the coach's booth and with the Raiders. He did that the other night. And he's also, of course, been very active on television with production meetings and whatnot. So former Raider coach Antonio Pierce, who is, I believe, still getting paid by the Raiders because everyone still gets paid.
There's a lot of people still getting paid by the Raiders.
Yeah. So he said it's quote foolish to think that Tom Brady is not sharing information, which is kind of obvious from the Fox broadcast, right? Why would you not?
Well, I mean, they used to. If you're going to cheat when you're a professional, you're going to cheat after you're a professional.
Well, it's gamesmanship, Tom. It's called gamesmanship is what it's called. And keep in mind, it doesn't matter. Like my argument is as long as you have Geno Smith as your quarterback, you could have the other team's playbook, Tom, and know exactly what they're going to run. It's not going to matter.
God,
it's not going to matter. And my final thought here, out of an abundance of caution, Tom, one thing that's changed more in my lifetime than anything else in football is
halftime adjustments.
No. Coddling, Tom. The coddling of everyone. Don't practice hard. Don't do the bare minimum. Everyone's kind of copied the Dave Roberts Dodgers, where you do the bare minimum. You don't try to test the boundaries. When you were a kid, Tom, not me, of course, because you're older, but when you were a kid, test the boundaries of the human body.
That's right.
Now it's just do a little bit. Just do a little bit. They don't get hit. They don't play in exhibition games. Yeah. I bring this up because we're only in the third week of the NFL season, and if you look at the starting quarterbacks who are likely to be out this weekend, Joe Burrow's out probably for the season. J.J. McCarthy, He's out in Minnesota. Justin Fields with the Jets. He's out. Brock Purdy, probably so. So you've got Jake Browning, Carson Wentz, Tyrod Taylor, and Mac Jones probably again. You could also have Jaden Daniels out, which would mean Marcus Mariota will be the starting quarterback for the Washington football team. It's a hot mess, despite every precaution being taken to protect quarterbacks. We've already had a massive rash of injuries. But enough about that, Tom. Let's get to the games.
And remember, last week in week 2, I had a concussion. They gave me some smelling salts, and I came out here anyway.
Well,
That's
what I
they
did,
back
Tom,
when I was a kid.
I actually had a headache. I took some pharmacy-grade ibuprofen is what I
love
took.
that. That's
And,
my favorite.
very well.
It also helps with our voice.
I learned that actually when I was a little kid. And I was like, I think I was like 8 years old, and I listened to Tom on the radio.
Thank you so much.
I heard that.
Thank you
Very
so
nice.
much.
You were talking about cigarettes and liquor stores. All right, where are we going, Tom?
Very good. 97.1, the FM talk station with Cindy Brady, Cato Kalin, and Tom Looney. Why did that fail?
Rams. They had a porn guy on there too, I think.
Yeah, we did. Rams and Eagles, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, longtime home of John Flacenda from NFL Films. You'll remember him, Big Ben. It's a Super Bowl rerun to an NFC Championship rerun. The team of Ben Maller's youth getting 3.5 points. The Rams.
Yeah, so Rams at Eagles, this game on Fox, Tom. Joe Davis and Greg Olson, your buddy. We had him on. We did the radio show together.
And Joe Davis bobblehead night coming up at Dodger Stadium. Big Ben, I'll get you one.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good on that. So the Eagles, the Eagles, as you said, 3.5 point favorite in this game. So the Eagles are what I call, Tom, a good, dull team. Good, dull team. They have a solid defense. They're pretty good on special teams. Their offense is milquetoast, is what it is. And so you go into this game. I'm going to take the Rams in this game, okay?
Oh, okay.
I take the Rams. It's a bit of a letdown spot for the Eagles coming off that emotional win, the Super Bowl rematch. And not that the Rams are a bunch of nobodies. They obviously were a playoff opponent of Philadelphia. But the game that everyone was watching was Chiefs and Eagles, and the Eagles won that clunker of a game last week. And Matthew Stafford surprised me in 2 ways. First of all, he's still playing. He's healthy. I didn't think he was going to be able to play. And then he's actually been pretty reliable and pretty solid. He's about as good as you would expect from Matthew Stafford. So in this game, just short throws, timing routes. Philadelphia's got a pretty good pass rush. Stafford will get destroyed, get kicked out of, get knocked out of the game if that pass rush is able to get success here. And so you got to lean into that if you're the Rams. McVay has done very well with the Rams from a gambling standpoint in these early windows. This is an early game, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. on the West Coast. McVay's 10-5 against the spread, his Rams, on those East Coast early games. Of course, some of those are against terrible teams. Eagles not a terrible team. But the Rams have a defense which I believe is as good as Philadelphia, and they have the better quarterback in this matchup. Jalen Hurts is the NFL's 24th ranked quarterback. Stafford has been a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. You know you love your quarterback ratings, Tom.
I do.
And the Eagles have the 31st ranked passing offense in the NFL. The only thing that they're amazing at is the tush push, and the Rams won't be able to stop it.
Do you know who the number 1 rated quarterback in the NFL is right now?
Who would that be, Tom?
That would be Lamar Jackson
of
the
that's
Baltimore Ravens by
That's
far.
your favorite. Well, listen, enough of that, Tom. I'm going to take the Rams. This will be a fourth quarter game. You got 2 ways to win this game with the Rams. You've got the Rams pull the outright upset, or it's a field goal game, and you're getting 3.5. So you can ram it all day, in this case, and also ram it all night. Take the Rams, and what about the penny?
When's the last time the Eagles lost? Like October last year or something like that?
They're due. The due factor. The due
Okay.
factor, Tom. Do the do. Do the do.
See what the penny says. Heads to the home team. Tails. Penny going with the home team and the Eagles. And Ben going with the team of his youth, the Los Angeles Rams.
All right, some early disagreement. Where are we headed now, Tom?
The Steelers at Patriots, Foxborough, Massachusetts, a longtime home of the world's largest straw hat factory, Ben.
Really?
Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers wears a tinfoil hat when he's not wearing a football helmet, and New England is getting 1.5 points.
So I've been to Foxborough before, and all I saw was trees. I didn't see anything other than trees when I was in Foxborough.
It was very green.
Out in the sticks, far away from everything there. All right, so on this game, Steelers and Patriots, this is the Iron Eagle J.J. Watt game on CBS, Tom. So they'll be calling the game if you're curious about that.
J.J. Watt will be a great broadcaster, but if he doesn't get hurt and miss a few games.
He might get laryngitis and not be able to call a game. But since 2022, in road games with a spread of 4 or less, the Steelers have been very good straight up, but not necessarily against the spread. Straight up, Tomlin is the most profitable coach in the NFL. But I'm going to take the Patriots in this game. And the main reason I'm going to take the Patriots here is I'm betting against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. For years, the Steelers, they sold every year great defense. Every year was amazing, right? This year, so far, they're in the soup. Pittsburgh ranked 29th in total defense. Who goofed? I've got to know. I'm shocked they're not worse than that. The Patriots will be able to take advantage of that. Everyone's taking advantage of that. Sam Darnold was able to do it last week for Seattle. Justin Fields in week 1. You would think the Patriots, even though they have a rudimentary offense, will also have success here against that weak Pittsburgh defense. They're also really bad against the run. And so the Steelers allowing almost 150 yards per game. They have the 5th worst run defense in the NFL.
So you don't think this is going to be a bounce-back game for Coach Tomlin and the Steelers?
No, usually I like Tomlin in these kind of spots, but I'm going to take the Patriots here. There's some serious issues, some broken things with that Pittsburgh defense. And Ramondre Stevenson, I know there's questions about, will he be ready to go and fully ready to go on this, but he's the focal point here for the Patriots offense. Control the tempo, wear down the front 7, get those yards, and then that'll open things up for Drake May, who actually looked all right. He did play the Dolphins last week. I'm not a huge Drake May guy yet, but the Aaron Rodgers, 2 interceptions in 2 games. He struggled against Seattle's defense. The Patriots, they're not a great defense, but they're somewhere in the middle. And the Pittsburgh offensive line has been essentially traffic cones at this point, Tom. So there's hidden yards in there, special teams, field position, all that stuff. The Steelers botched a kickoff. They gave Seattle a touchdown last week because they didn't.
I like that analogy, like the orange cones that smart people ignore, sort of the defensive linemen, right? They ignore those orange cones. They keep coming.
Years ago, Tom, I was driving.
The penny all of a sudden. Hang on. See what the penny says.
All right, there we go. All right.
Penny going with heads, Penny going with the hometown Patriots, as does big bloviating Ben Maller.
So years ago, I was driving on the 210 freeway, and where was I? Like in Azusa or something like that. Okay. And there was traffic. It was a Caltrans, the traffic on the highway, and somebody kind of cut in front of me. So I had to veer over, and I ended up hitting several of those orange cones.
Oh, right.
Totally destroyed my bumper.
You're kidding. The orange cones did? How going fast or a shitty car?
Well, both. But I guess the speed was the biggest issue there. And I didn't realize it until like a few minutes later when my bumper was bouncing up and down. All right, what's the next game, Tom? Where are we going now?
Broncos at Chargers, Inglewood, California. Childhood home of the Big Peepee, Paul Pierce, but this is an NFL show. Chargers can take an early hold on the AFC West with a win here, Ben. Broncos getting 2.5 points.
Easy for you to say. Well, I'd like to alert all the viewers around the world. I will be at this game. I will be in attendance, Tom, at SoFi Stadium in the hood in Inglewood.
Good.
That's right. I'll be hanging out there. Broncos at Chargers, as you said. Kevin Harlan, who is a sports talk radio consumer, God love him, and Trent Green have the call there on CBS. So I'm going to take the lightning bolts in this game, the powder blue. Wow. And the reason why, Tom, all right, you look for an edge. The Chargers have a better defense, and they have the better quarterback. Justin Herbert off to a sparkling start. I'm not a huge fan of his. I hate most quarterbacks, as you know, Tom. You love all running quarterbacks. I pretty much hate all quarterbacks. But Justin Herbert really saw 5 touchdowns, no receptions, not over the top great. He ranks in the top 5 in air yards. He ranks in the top 5 in success rate.
He's managing the game.
Other nerd stats. And Sean Payton's defense there in Denver has given up 300-plus passing yards to Daniel Jones last week and 165 rushing yards to Jonathan Taylor. They didn't stop anybody. So what's going on with that? The Broncos also, Bo Nix, I believe he's already got 4 turnovers if my math is correct. So the only thing that gives me pause here is the injury report. The Chargers offensive line dinged up. We know Khalil Mack, the linebacker who got hurt against the Raiders, he's out for a while. So Joe Alt and the rest of that offensive line have to hold the Broncos back. But the Denver football team has been wobbly. They've been a dumb team, late game execution, that ridiculous special teams thing last week, which would cause you an ulcer. This is a tight game. LA has the edge. I would rather have Jim Harbaugh, whose team has been clean. They've been opportunistic, the Chargers. And Denver's offense, inconsistent. I mentioned the turnovers. And Bo Nix has not proven he can beat a disciplined team. The Chargers have a top 10 defense.
Chargers defense is so effing stubborn.
They're really good right now. There are some injuries. We'll see if that keeps up. But I'm going to take the Chargers in this game, Tom.
Okay.
What about Penny? I'll be freeloading.
Penny landing on tails. Penny going with the visiting Broncos, disagreeing with Ben, who goes with the hometown Chargers.
I don't like this disagreement. All right, where are we headed now, Tom?
Well, it creates 4 good mathematics, hopefully for you at the end of the season, right?
That's true.
Like,
More
we won't mention last season.
Well, we don't need to mention it because
the
reason we're here, Tom, is because of last season. All right, the reason we're here is because of last season.
Okay, we forged forth in what we used to call the B block back on real television. Chiefs at Giants. Giants and the points made you smile last week. Big Ben, New York getting 6 against the winless Chiefs. Will you double down on the big blue wrecking crew and take the points again this week?
Well, let me just, before we get into that, Tom, let me just say that since we're on YouTube, can you click that subscribe button if you like what you're watching? Isn't that what YouTubers say? Click that, that subscribe button, follow us, turn on your notifications. Anyway, so here's the deal. Chiefs and Giants, this is the big Sunday night game. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, and I'm going with Kansas City, Tom. I'm going to take Kansas City. Here's why. Strategic advantage. As boxers like to say, and there was actually a sports writer that came up with this, styles make fights, right?
Mm-hmm.
Styles make fights. And this one, the style and everything indicates Kansas City here, Kansas City, and Andy Reid and his coaching staff.
One quick note, I was the one that said styles make fights, and then Bert Sugar stole it from me.
How dare Bert? Okay. I love Bert.
It was great. Oh, my God.
I miss Bert Sugar. What a great storyteller. So the Chiefs defensively, with Steve Spagnuolo, they blitz a lot, as you know, Tom, and the man coverage. That generally has been poison for Russell Wilson, all right? He struggles against man coverage. He doesn't do well against pressure. Most quarterbacks don't do well against pressure. The other thing here, the Giants' offensive line, they've got 2 things they're really good at: getting injured and inconsistent play, meaning against a top-line Kansas City defense, the chances are pretty good that Russell Wilson will be under siege in this game, okay? He's already taken a bunch of sacks, quarterback hits through the first couple games, and I'm looking at it, and I crunched the numbers on this, handicapping it. I don't see a way the Giants, other than turnovers, if they play a clean game, I don't see the Giants scoring more than 17 points. The Giants' offense against the Kansas City defense. We're all waiting for Mahomes to bounce back. It's been a slow start. He wasn't that great last year. He's historically elite, though, in primetime games. And I expect by halftime, Chris Collinsworth will be slobbering all over Patrick Mahomes here. Big bounce back spot. Find that rhythm. The Giants allowed 40 points to the Cowboys. The Chiefs should score at least, I'll say 24, 30, something like that. Kansas City doesn't have a lot of playmakers here, despite a couple of close losses to the Chargers and Eagles. But if you look at the nerd stats, the Chiefs actually are better than last year in net yards per play. I don't even know what that is, Tom, but it sounds important. I'm kidding. Net yards per play. The Giants are actually minus 0.3, so there's a big gap based on the nerd stats.
Well, straight up, you'd pick the Chiefs, but now you got points. Giants.
I know, you got points, and that's a big number. You know I love my underdogs, Tom, but I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to take Kansas City's defense. Mr. Unlimited will be lacking in this game. Mahomes avoids turnovers. Chiefs win something like 27-17. They'll cover the number. And the penny picks.
Heads is the home team, tails the visitors. That's how we play. Benny versus the penny. Let's see where the penny lands. Penny on heads. Penny taking the Giants and the points. Benny going with the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, where are we headed now from Jersey? Where are we going?
What a fun game. Lions versus Ravens. Baltimore, Maryland, home of America's first and largest umbrella factory. In this game should be raining touchdowns. Lions scored 52 last week. Ravens scored 40 in week 1, 41 in week 2. Detroit getting 4.5 points. What a game this should be.
Well, also home of one of the great freeloaders, the great Jerry Coleman in Baltimore.
Yes.
Media freeloaders update.
A lot of great media members came out of Baltimore. Oprah Winfrey, Jerry Coleman, and others. Yes.
Yes, so very similar. All right, so this has some juice, as you mentioned. Lions and Ravens, couple of heavyweights. The Lions looked bad week 1, bounced back in week 2. So you've got two teams who are in the upper crust of the NFL. It's early in the season. The weather shouldn't be a factor and all that. So I'm going to take the points in this game. I hate favorites. I try to find the reasons to take the underdog, and this one's rather easy. The Lions should be able to exploit Baltimore's defensive injuries, and this is the thing that you always think of the Ravens, much like we think of the Steelers, always great defensively every year, year in, year out. That has not been the case so far this year. The Steelers have been bad. The Ravens have also had their issues. And the Ravens, maybe without Kyle Van Noy, I believe he's out with a hamstring injury. Marlon Humphrey's got a groin problem. That weakens both the pass rush and the secondary. Now, I didn't play in the NFL, so Ryan Clark might not like that, Tom, but that's my position. And the thing about this, Jared Goff, he should be able, I say should be able to take advantage, carve up the Poets, quick reads. They've got some playmakers on offense there in Detroit, and those intermediate throws as well. The only thing that gives me pause is Jared Goff against the Ravens. And the Ravens, they traditionally have good defense. They're not great this year, but Jared Goff outdoors is not as good as he is indoors.
Isn't he better 1 in the afternoon at home?
Yeah, when no one's really paying attention. But the Lions have enough weapons here where even with all of that baggage, you would assume Jared Goff would be able to find his mojo, their mojo, and all that. I would think Jahmyr Gibbs is the key here. He's as you know, Tom, the Swiss Army knife of the Detroit Lions. And Baltimore's run defense has allowed 100-plus yards in both games. So you would think, based on that, you attack, if you're the Lions, with Gibbs and David Montgomery. And that's the shot, because I don't believe the Lions will stop Lamar Jackson. So you got to play the short running game, the short passing game, grind the clock down, keep Baltimore's offense off the field. And you don't have to win the game. You're getting over a field goal here. This should be a fourth quarter game. These teams are pretty close to each other. So I'm going to take the points. And the Motor City Kitties, what about the penny, Tom?
I'm going to go over to the liquor store. You just said something nice about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
My lucky day. I got to buy a lottery ticket.
All right, wait. I'm surprised you didn't tell you that Lamar Jackson first.
Hey, Penny landing on heads. Shout out to Baltimore, Maryland. One of the great, we had a lot of numbers here on the YouTube show from Baltimore, Maryland. So Penny landing on heads. Penny going with the home team Ravens, as is Big, and Ben going with the Detroit Lions. Wow.
All right, where are we headed now, Tom? Where we
Ben, it's Bengals at Vikings, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Jake Browning against Carson Wentz. Break out the Viagra. This matchup isn't giving anybody a Woody. Bengals are 3.5.
Well, how happy are Jim Nantz and Tony Romo that they're calling this particular game here? This was supposed to be Joe Burrow versus J.J. McCarthy. Now it's a battle of the backups. As you said, Jake Browning, Carson Wentz, the matchup. But every game matters. Now, handicapping this game, it's impossible to know what you're going to get. We know that both these guys turned the ball over, Carson Wentz and Jake Browning, when they played. Carson Wentz is the ultimate football hobo. He's bounced all over the place. But I'm going to go with the Vikings because of their defense. Brian Flores, who's suing the NFL still. That defense has allowed they've allowed some yards, but they've been very good in the red zone. So they've been a bend but not break defense for the most part. And Jake Browning is a pastry chef. He throws together lots of turnovers, a lot of turnovers here. So I actually don't hate Jake Browning. I think he's okay. But Minnesota ranks second in pressure rate in the NFL, and you would think they'd be licking their chops here against a ragtag Bengals offensive line that is already being blamed for Joe Burrow's likely season-ending injury, his toe injury. As long as Carson Wentz avoids hero ball, we keep hearing about how the Viking coaching staff, Kevin O'Connell, is so good at propping up quarterbacks and all that. So here's an opportunity, right? You just stick to rhythm throws, Minnesota, get the ball to Justin Jefferson. And J.J. McCarthy was horrific. He was one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL the first 2 weeks of the year. So this could actually end up being a positive in the big picture here. But I'm going to take the Purple People Eaters defense, the
Right.
Minnesota Vikings. What about the penny, Tom?
You gotta try to avoid a lawsuit if you're going to call Carson Wentz a hobo week in and week out. You gotta be careful, Big Ben. It's not politically correct.
I understand. I'm a rebel.
Penny landing on tails. Penny going with the visitors. Penny going with the Bengals. Penny going with the Minnesota Vikings.
All right, we'll spin the dial, Tom, and where we head now.
We're going to Cowboys and Bears. Sunday night game networks already overfeeding us primetime Cowboys and primetime Bears games, much the way Princess Diana used to overfeed herself cheesecake at 3 o'clock in the morning when nobody was looking. Chicago getting 1.5 points.
Yeah, so in this game, Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady have the call, Tom. So it's that's the great matchup in this one.
But, well, good, because the Raiders play these teams, and Tom Brady can get some information from those coaches and pass it along to the Raiders. That's good.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I'm going to cowboy up this week. Here's why. Ben Johnson, we mentioned this on the radio show. Ben Johnson called his team essentially weak, played grab ass. I thought he was calling out Caleb Williams because he said they don't practice like a championship team. And normally the quarterback's supposed to hold the players accountable. So that's my position.
And normally it's up to the coach to make sure people practice well.
Well, yeah, but the quarterback's supposed to keep people engaged and all that. But either way, it doesn't matter. The Bears defense was gashed late by Minnesota in week number 1, and then early and often in week 2 against the Detroit football team. The numbers are horrific. And so, listen, there's opportunity here. Cowboys come out, quick strike, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, 50-yard pass play, early touchdown. Chicago guys will retreat. They'll go back into hibernation mode. They'll start sucking their thumbs. Woe is me. Here we go again. And for Chicago, Caleb Williams, despite the new offense, very similar to what we saw last year. He's taken way too long to process the defense, and his average time to throw is about 3.5 seconds, which is not what you're looking for. So when the game script ends, we've seen this the last couple of weeks, he has gotten progressively worse. He's not good at improv. He needs to go to a comedy club because he's not very good at improv.
He's better when it's scripted. But in his defense, Big Ben, because I was a big fan, watched him at USC, loved him, and I think he's got a great NFL future if he's not with a crappy organization like he is now. But I will tell you, in his defense, he's having a hard time right now reading defenses.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Tom. Also, I mean, he's got a balance between painting his nails and reading the. It's an issue. Right. So, but without Micah Parsons, he ain't coming back for the Cowboys. So you're going to get other guys that have to step up here for that Dallas defense, which is not. I'm not certainly taking the Cowboys because of their defense, because they made the Giants look amazing last week. Kenny Clark, do something. Dante Fowler, do something on defense there, and try to force Caleb Williams off the script because he's not very good at that. The Bears did not have much depth. They also have, by my count, 4 players on defense, Tom, that are questionable for this game. So a couple of those guys likely will not play. And Chicago's defense allowing 73 points the last 5 quarters, which I'm told is not good. So give me, believe it or not, Dak Prescott. They got to get touchdowns. They've been kicking too many field goals. Get Aubrey off the field. Go score some damn touchdown. All right. Enough of that. Anyway, I'm taking the Cowboys. What about the penny, Tom?
Okay, let's see where the penny goes. Home team heads. Visiting tails. Penny going with the Chicago Bears and taking the points.
All right, we move on. I think we have, one game to go? Yes. Is my math correct, Tom? One more game.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, it's not a good one. Okay.
Packers at Browns. Packers have blasted out of the starting gate like Secretariat. Browns look as dead as ruffian buried at the infield in Belmont. Another joke that would have gotten zapped on real television.
On television, yeah.
Cleveland getting 8.5 points.
You would have heard a voice in your IFB saying, "Hey Tom, stop! Let's do it over. We'll do it over."
Probably that Viagra joke would have got it stopped a couple of segments ago.
Yeah. All right. So this is not a great game, but it's on the schedule, Tom. And the Green Bay Packers are the talk of the NFL world. The Packers off to the good start. People anointing them the top team in the NFC now. And this is a massive point spread, as you said. The Browns are a terrible team. Game's on Fox. Kevin Kugler and Daryl Moose Johnston have the call on this one. But I'm going to go against popular opinion. I'm going to be the contrarian here, Tom, and I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns.
You're paying it in. Okay.
All right, you're getting line value, and this is a letdown spot. Line value and letdown spot. Let me explain. So Green Bay played a primetime game in their last game. They have the Cowboys next week. That is the game of the year for the Packers. It's the Michael Parsons revenge game. It's in prime time on Sunday night, a week from Sunday here.
Oh, wow.
So you get caught
prime time Cowboys game. There's a shock.
You get caught peeking ahead. You let down a little bit against the team. No one's getting up for it. You know why, Tom? The Browns don't have the wow factor. They don't have any factors in terms of that. But the one thing, though, that Cleveland has been able to do is play defense. Despite an 0-2 record, the Ravens last week scored a bunch of points. However, Myles Garrett and the Cleveland defense lead the entire NFL. They're number one in the entire NFL in fewest yards allowed. So that's not just window dressing. That's
a great player. He might be the best player in the NFL, Myles Garrett.
The reason they gave up so many points last week was because their stumble bum quarterback kept turning the ball over. Joe Flacco threw 2 picks, lost a fumble, got sacked 3 times. That was horrific. It was like having the Statue of Liberty back there playing quarterback. It was depressing and all that. And the Browns, that's the thing. They're -4 in takeaways. Very hard to even be in any games when you're -4 in takeaways here. But you are at home. You have a stout defense. I would assume the Browns aren't complete morons, and they'll change their offense a little bit. The quick game, the checkdowns, and just play a clean game. Run the ball. And you have an offensive line that's not great. Green Bay's pass rush is obviously very good. So the rookie running back who's got some baggage, Quinshon Judkins of the Browns, I believe that's how you say his name, but he's the X factor there. He came back, and the Browns actually had a pulse in the running game last week. He can get you 85.
When you're the X factor, and a guy who does as much homework as you doesn't know how to say his name, that's
not good. he's a rookie, Tom. He's a rookie. But anyway, keep the clock moving here. And Jordan Love, he's not Mr. Perfect over there. Jordan Love can be rattled at times. We've seen that. And
you're taking the Cleveland Browns?
I'm taking the Brownies, Tom. I'm taking the Brownies. What about the penny?
Penny, the points whore. There's a shock. Let's see where the penny lands. Okay, Penny slowly landing on the tails. Penny going with the Cleveland Browns. Penny going with the visiting Packers. Penny going with the hometown Cleveland Browns.
There you go. All right. So where are we going now, Tom?
Well, Penny, we'll go to our C block in a Looney Bump, an award-winning Looney Bump. You can read on the scroll on the bottom. See, we've got a scroll there across the bottom. Big Ben,
look at that.
Our director, Martin Scorsese Jr., adding that this week.
I like that. I like the scroll. I'm a fan of the scroll, Tom.
I am too, because I have attention span issues. It gets me all the information, and I'm a glutton for information.
When you're talking, I get bored, so I can then look at the scroll.
There you go. There you go.
I'm entertained until it's my time to talk, and then that's great.
Well, Big Ben, even if we don't feature all the games, you picked them all, and Benny and the Penny disagree on Raiders Commanders. You can see on the fabulous scroll, Jets, Bucks, and Colts, Titans. Benny also disagreeing on. Benny going with the Raiders, Jets, and Colts, and they agree on Texans, Jaguars, Falcons, Panthers, and Saints, Seahawks. Most surprisingly, I think, Ben, you're betting on the Saints in Seattle, taking the points.
Yeah, you're getting a touchdown. That is a bet against Sam Darnold. That's more than it. Sam Darnold's capable of keeping the Saints in the game. He's capable. Okay. And you get the backdoor cover, assuming the Saints don't roll over and get in the fetal position. These aren't your daddy Seahawks, Looney. No, they're not. Okay. I know they look good.
They're not the Drew Brees Saints either. So
they look good against Pittsburgh. Remember, Pittsburgh, though, gave a touchdown to Seattle last week. Pittsburgh was in the game, and then they handed a touchdown.
I think we misjudged Pittsburgh because they look good against the Jets, forgetting everyone looks good.
Well, they look good on offense. The defense, they made Justin Fields look like he was back at Ohio State playing Northwestern.
They did.
My God.
They made it look like Pittsburgh made a mistake getting rid of him. Well, make it all make sense, Ben. You made it make sense going with the hapless Saints in Seattle. Make the rest of it make sense.
All right. Well, just a couple of things here. Not to pile on. It's not my style, Tom, to pile on. But Geno Smith this week said, no excuses, Geno said, about the amount of mistakes he's made. Since the start of last season, Geno Smith leads the entire NFL with 19 interceptions. And now some of those are tip passes, but a lot of them are just bonehead plays by Geno Smith. It is one of the great stories of our time that he got the job in Seattle. I know why he got it, because Russ was traded. They needed somebody at the last minute. But the fact that the Raiders traded for Geno Smith, knowing the quarterback that he was still fascinates me. It blows me away. And then the other thought I have, the great Steve Harvey, who I briefly worked side by side with. He worked at the old iHeart building there, the Premier building.
Yes, we worked side by side with a lot of legends. We worked side by side with Casey Kasem.
Yeah, Casey Kasem was
Harvey
there
over the years. It was
Rush Limbaugh was.
That's right. Whenever he was in L.A., he was right down the hall.
Yeah. So anyway, but Steve Harvey, a lifelong Cleveland sports fan, he said this week that he prays for Shedeur Sanders to get an opportunity with the Browns. So now I love Steve Harvey, one of the great entertainers of my life. Shouldn't he be praying that the Browns trade for Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson? I'm just saying, Tom. I'm just saying, right? If you're gonna ask for some divine intervention, shouldn't you go big? Because Shedeur Sanders, he's not even running the scout team. Bailey Zappi is running the scout team. That does not bode well.
I think if you're a prayer, you should pray for things more noble than sports.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, there's a lot. There's a lot of different layers to it. Anyway, we'll get out on that, Tom. Remember, hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend. We need these numbers to go up,
we do.
and away. All right. So very
Thanks
good.
for watching Benny versus the Penny. It only makes sense.